welcome to the Spirit Hunters podcast. I'm Lance White-Eagle, and joining me for this episode is...
Wesh, Chrissy,
Tom, Brenda,
Lisa,
Shane.
And for this installment, we're going to be talking about our investigation at the former warehouse restaurant in Bradford, Pennsylvania. And, well, Chris, you want to give a little background on the warehouse? What it was previously?
well, it, like, back from the beginning or just previously to...
Like the restaurant, I guess.
When I first came in contact with it, it was the warehouse restaurant. My brother actually worked there, and I worked there for a brief period of time in college. I was like a buffet attendant, and yeah, just a restaurant bar, kind of like nestled in the woods. And did you want me to talk about some of my experiences there, or do we?
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
I wanted to point out too, the reason we did this location is because Chrissy had a number of stuff that happened there, and other people that she worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Formerly too, it was also the Spirit Lounge. It was just a warehouse.
It was the Fireside restaurant, I think, after the warehouse.
It burnt. There was something there before those. It burnt down. It was, rebuilt in the '70s. So we could not find adequate info because it is outside of town and kind of in the boonies, bear country. But sorry.
So when I was working there, like I said, I mainly worked like the buffet area, and what I had was there was a dimmer switch that would over the buffet, and my boss used to keep it really dim in there. And throughout the night, it would get brighter and brighter and brighter, and I would get yelled at because all of a sudden it would be super bright in there, and like, what are you doing? Why are you turning up the lights? And I'm like, okay, like, is one of the waitresses playing a trick on me? Like, what's going on? So like I started keeping an eye on the knob to make sure nobody was messing with it, and it would just naturally like go up, down, like nobody.
The lights weren't just going on. It wasn't an electrical surge.
No,
something
it was just something like something was turning the switch, but nobody was in there. Like I was watching. Also, throughout the day, like I would have like a specific spot that I set like my utensils, like my spoons and spatulas and whatnot, and they would be moved randomly, like different things like that. Throughout the whole time I was there. And then, you kind of chalk it up to like, okay, maybe I'm imagining this, like maybe whatever. And then one of my friends from high school, her mother worked there back in the, like way before I worked there. And she used to have the same things happen to her. So I was like, okay, so it wasn't just, me imagining it. But yeah, like things like that. So like when I remember Shane mentioned about the possibility of going there, I was like, yeah, I want to go see the, spirits I used to see back in the day, so.
And today it's a private residence, and the people were gracious enough to let us come in and poke around their house.
Yeah.
But we should say it's 8,000 square feet. It's still a big place.
Yeah.
Another thing that Chrissy told us about was the music was going on and off at different times or something like that, or was that you or something
No,
else?
that was actually are we allowed to say the people's names that own the house?
Well, we'll just say the owners.
Okay, the owners, she said, there's a stereo when you first walk in. It's over when you walk in the door on the right-hand side, and she said that the stereo will randomly go on and off at different times during the day.
So it wasn't Chrissy. Somebody else told me that used to work there in my pre-interview stuff, that when they were there, the restaurant stereo system would sometimes go on or off by itself, or it would change. Stations. So which the owner told me about that. It was another one of those validating kind of things that we like to try to, get.
And I think the owner had it on a certain station. I may be mistaken, but I think she was saying it would switch to like
rock. It was
rock
like the,
oldies, like classic rock station.
Right.
Even if they had it on something else, it would.
Yeah, whatever the spirits there preferred the '70s rock.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. We should say too, as soon as we got there and started putting stuff up, It takes us about an hour and a half to set up. Things were going off immediately.
And actually,
Multiple devices.
I was super tickled because the place where they were going off, I put 2 spirit balls where the buffet used to be. And I sat those down, and those immediately started going off, and that was so validating just to be like, there you are. you know,
Over
like-
and over
Yeah.
and over.
Both the doorbell
It seemed like throughout the night they would.
was right there too.
Yeah, every time we acknowledged them, which is kind of cool because that means there's some intelligent thought there. After the 20 or 30 minutes, they kept going off in the beginning, and the REM pod too, for a lot of that. Later, when we were talking about it amongst ourselves about them going off, they would start going off again over there.
Yeah, when Chrissy said, "Are you the same person who used to move my utensils?" It like lit up.
Yeah.
Yep, it's
And
me.
as Tom said, the doorbell, the motion sensor went off in there.
And that thing was so far away from where we were walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Oh,
notice.
and for our podcast
Yeah,
viewers,
they do the same
yeah,
thing.
this is Tom. You prefer Tom or Tommy?
Either way.
Just not Bill
There you go.
Johnson, correct? Who is a member of our team. He's been doing primarily our video reviewing for the past quite a few investigations, which is long and tedious and boring. And if you
Not
watch,
always boring, but it's tedious for sure.
yeah, if you watched any of our live streams for
Definitely
what,
not boring.
the past year almost, I'm sure you guys have seen Tom in those, but this is his first time on the podcast.
Right. Tom is our second newest regular member. Ellen Frank, town historian of Elkaville, is actually, I think, the newest.
Yeah, I just didn't want them to confuse him with Hunter since they look so similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hunter's
and
out sick
he gets
today.
that a lot.
The-
Hunter shaved.
yeah, yeah.
Somebody named Hunter White Eagle says, and all of the things, bangs and things being thrown. So yes, we will get that.
Yeah,
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
That's the climax.
So yeah, as Shane said,
Climax.
already.
That was-
Sorry, that was me. I started this
I'm gonna
time.
tell you-
It's my
I'm
fault.
not gonna say much, but I'm gonna tell you that the Elks Club has a big surprise.
We, as Shaney said, we had Chrissy, as soon as we started setting up, we had things going off and lighting up and stuff like that. And
We should state too, a lot of people, we get asked a lot, what did it feel like, and it felt creepy from the day one. Even when Lisa and I did the walkthrough of the place, there's a definite creep factor of that place. Besides the fact that you could have a bear, at any time come and meet you outside, but,
Oh,
That's
that's
spare house.
back when I worked there. Just as a side note, back when I worked there, they used to take the buckets, like the scraps from the plates, and they put a bucket outside the door every night. And that place was known for having like bears around the dumpsters and everything, and like Mama Bear would come and take the bucket into the woods, and Mama and Baby Bear would eat it. And the one day I was working, I looked outside and I saw this, what I thought was a black dog, and I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I looked at it and I'm like, that looks pretty big and kind of weird shaped for a dog. And it was a bear, like a,
Young.
juvenile
Yeah.
bear just laying outside the door. And I told my boss, I'm like, there's a bear right there. So he takes a big metal door and just slams it. And we're just like, okay, but
yeah,
I mean, they
scary.
were used
That's
to
a good
getting
idea.
fed, so, but
Yeah, let's aggravate the bear.
And Tom got there a little late, if I recall, correct?
Maybe.
Yeah, because I think we were
Yeah.
waiting outside and we thought it
we
was...
saw a truck going by and I'm
Right.
flashing them with my flashlight thinking it's you.
well,
And I'm like, oh.
we should say the GPS didn't actually go there either.
No,
It was telling us to
it
go
was
2
totally
miles
off.
beyond where the actual place was, so it was
Yeah.
a weird place.
And it
There's
was
no
a
lights either. so
few
you just-
minutes outside of Bradford, like Lewis Run area.
Marshburg area.
Marshburg, okay.
Yeah.
Zach Johnson and Tori say hi, Dad.
Hey!
But
Again.
Mom, I think as we were setting up, you started to get K2 readings.
Oh yeah, my K2 was maxing out in a lot of places. And
Even
a
outside.
bunch of
Yeah.
different places. Oh yeah, outside it was going crazy.
Yeah.
And So I went around and it was just this one particular place that would go off. So I stood there and asked all kinds of questions. And apparently they were old patrons of the place and they enjoyed visiting.
And a thing to note about that is she was getting those readings, but later on you could go to the same area and you weren't getting like,
weren't
so
getting-
it wasn't like, you know, like just an electrical line.
No, because
completely.
I tested
Yeah.
out all the lines and the cables
Yeah,
to make sure that there wasn't
typically you'll run through to
interfering.
see where the hot
Yeah,
spots
we
and
do that.
what the median, you know, readings are.
Did Lise get anything early on?
No.
No, other than the cat.
Who's
Didn't you find the cat?
Uh-uh.
I thought it was you who noticed the big old floofy cat. It would sit. He was sitting on the railing, and his stomach would just fall over either side.
Yeah,
of
he was
the
a
railing.
fat cat.
I don't know.
Oh, I
I
thought it was
remember the
Lisa
cat.
pointed
I
it
remember a
out.
cat, but I don't remember.
Oh.
I think it was Lisa. She probably just. But,
Blocked it.
yeah.
It's
It
like
was
freaking
traumatic. It was so bad. I can't. We should probably say too that there being a bar, and we've had this at a lot of different bar locations. There's a lot of different emotion going on in these places. This place was a little bit of a rough place for a while too. It wasn't just a good family restaurant like it was with Chrissy. There was a lot of rough things that happened there. There was actually a total of 3 different bars in there at one time. One downstairs, one upstairs, and one in a little house that's also part of the property, which we had a lot of activity in too. Where do you want to start?
Let's see. Well, our main stay. So we had what used to be the dining area, the restaurant was primarily where we had open to us. The people were using kind of a back section as their primary living space. But then there
We
was
did have cameras up there too.
yeah,
Except for the bedroom.
yeah.
Lancey did put one in the bathroom. I keep telling him not to do
Yeah.
that, but
You never know when a ghost's got to take a dip. But we also had access to a building that was unattached.
Yeah, that was where there used to be a bar in there. When the owners that are living there now, while they were fixing up the other part of the restaurant, they lived in there for a while, and then they moved in to.
So that was its own bar.
it
next
was a bar.
door to the
But
bar.
there was some kind of fire or something to the proper bar. When that was being repaired, they put a bar in that little house,
Mm.
and that
It was
was the
really
makeshift
small,
bar
though.
until the other
Yeah, it'd be a
place.
little
Yeah, it
tiny
would be
bar.
It was.
little.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a really cool treehouse, but I don't think we have permission to go in.
Yeah.
Well, it was split in half, so we
Uh,
couldn't.
so let's see, what else did we get early on? It seemed like a lot of it wanted us to know we were there, and if you talked about it, it would light up, but didn't answer
Didn't answer a whole
specific
lot of questions.
things very much.
Right, which was odd, because usually if the spirit is that anxious to show itself, there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
We kind of found out a little later why that probably was.
yeah. Well, you want to go into that a bit?
Yeah, I keep losing my voice, I don't know why. But according to the rods and spirit box sessions, those spirits that were there weren't the original inhabitants. They were brought there, they were conjured by somebody. According to that, on 2 different things, rods and spirit box, whoever did the conjuring trapped the actual spirits, the human spirits that were there beforehand. We hadn't been through something like this really before. We've heard of some stuff, and we had like the Stonehouse thing that was similar. Other stronger spirits capturing things. These things weren't human to begin with, according to
What it was saying.
Yeah.
Right. So it wanted to let us know, let us know they're there, probably scare us, whatever, but didn't have a lot to say. It was like I said, it was a creepy place. It almost felt like we had to be really careful, and we did do a lot of things to protect ourselves, more so for this place than probably any.
Mm-hmm.
But it was uncomfortable a lot of times. I actually went outside multiple times just to get away from the negativity.
But some of the original spirits were there, like the guy at the buffet table.
Right.
He was an original one, but like you said,
Or it claimed to be.
Or it claimed
Claimed
to
to
be.
I don't know. That's just what later they said, and we were starting to have a hard time communicating with things. I know with me personally, I felt agitated there, angry, like I was feeling like that somebody was, I don't know, attacking me, or that there was a risk of people, and for some reason when I get like that, I get protective and
yeah, there was a couple times that I said, don't you guys think we need to leave?
And a couple of times when after everybody said, you know what, like there might be something negative here, everybody like stay close, that certain people kept
Wandering
well,
off.
their meters kept trying to get them to go off by themselves.
right, the devices would
So
be
then
used
you
as a way
follow
to-
it.
It wasn't me.
It was not
I was
Lisa.
exploring, and I didn't go on the road, so
She was Dora.
Yeah.
I was Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, she was following her meter, and I
And it-
said, don't go past that point. And I look up.
Yeah. It kept
Where
trying
is
to get Chrissy off by herself. And then
herself.
when I would come up, she'd quit getting readings. And she'd be like, well, no, just let me go by myself. And I was-
No, you're not going by yourself. We're going to be cautious.
Where Chrissy was talking about when those cat balls were at the buffet tables to the bar across, I don't know, it's got to be at least 100 feet, I would guess. It's a big room. We had a lot of cat ball or spirit ball activity there and REM pod activity. And I should note too, when we were, there's a lot of little back rooms, little dark, creepy back rooms.
That
in there.
one bathroom door did keep opening.
Yeah.
This is
The
just
one he
we're
tried to put
talking
the
about
camera
the
in.
back rooms that were unfinished, like back rooms. And I remember, I can't remember what you said, but I heard Lisa talking in one of the back rooms when
That's
she wasn't
right.
really back there. I totally forgot about
Right.
that. But like you said, like I'm back here or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
what,
I'm
I've been
here.
practicing my ventriloquism.
when you were like outside and you're. But like I don't even think you were in.
No,
the
I don't
building.
think she
I
was
think you
even
might
in
have
there.
been I'm not sure, but it was the unfinished. Like it kind of looked like a basement, but it was like behind the bar.
So it's
And
kind
I
of
heard-
luring,
I
come
heard
back here.
Lisa say something like, and it was super happy, like an upbeat, and I'm like, Lisa, what are you doing? And I go back there and nobody's there, and I'm like, okay, all right.
But just
Like
another one
I'm
of those
like
things you're gonna
grumpy
watch.
all the time or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was upbeat. And she's like, Lisa, what's wrong with
That's
that?
really out of character.
Usually you don't go off by yourself and be like, hey, like here. But
Hey, Chrissy, I'm back here.
yeah, like like
Yeah, that was behind. So the buildings like this, that's one of these rooms back here.
yeah.
Yeah.
The two rooms back here are this one, behind where the buffet used to be.
Mhm.
We were here, we were
Oh,
stuck
like the
in there too.
kitchen, where the kitchen used to be.
Yeah, and stuff moving. Matter of fact,
Yes, you
something
could hear
really
things
loud
moving.
banged just right through that door at one point in the night, and we couldn't figure out what the heck.
And we also lost that light.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The camera went out
I forgot
three
about
times.
this. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The battery
The camera
went out
right
three
there.
times,
Yeah.
right?
Hunter just commented, lots of shadows, cameras turning off, and Chrissy, my pretty intense spirit box session in the second bar.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get.
Oh
to
yeah,
that.
we did.
yeah,
A
we
lot
had
of
to-
people
yeah.
saw
Yeah, the-
shadows and movement out of the
Mhm.
corner of their eyes, or heard stuff walking around.
We heard the woman like kind of like almost like a scream, like gasp
Like
in
a moan,
the
gasp.
place that is now like kind of like the guest house where they were living for
Mhm.
a while.
Yeah.
It was
Like audibly with our
Honestly.
ears, we.
The mother's on suite.
Yeah, the mother's suite.
Yeah.
Mother's sweet, what?
Oh, I wanted to know too, when Hunter and I were back there checking the equipment, there's several doors that go outside in that building. The one, we had, the screen door kept popping open. So we closed it, thinking, then Hunter started asking it to stop popping it open, so that we can verify that it's
Mhm.
not just popping, and it stopped. Then he asked it to do it again, popped open again.
Yeah, I completely
Just kept
forgot
doing
about
it over and over and
that.
over.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah,
I
it was-
didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was creepy.
Back in the back tool room where all the tools were behind the kitchen,
Yeah.
that door.
So that was a cool thing that happened. we had a lot of spirit ball and rod activity, which we are.
The rod was real strong in front of the main bar.
Yeah, well, it was real strong in that little house too. The rod.
The rod sessions.
That makes it worse.
Oh, well.
Anyway,
Spirit Hunters After Dark.
Lisa and I, in closest to the beginning, we went to the little house out there.
Shh, don't tell. No.
Don't know about going to the little house
when
with
you
the
guys were by
rod.
yourself
And
Oh, boy.
with the rod.
so we did put a few pieces of equipment in there. One of the weirdest things, well, before we even started, I think, the rod station, is we heard this almost sound like a bear claws. You know, that's what was in my head, right? Scratching on the metal door. It was a little off-putting, and then Hunter came in a little later, and Lisa and Hunter said, "What are you doing? Boy, you might as well just jump in on the podcast."
No, he said.
No, he's just trying to be very quiet.
Yeah, everybody wish Hunty a
Quick
quick recovery because he's not feeling good today.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Moving slow and crazy.
Anyway, we heard
Bear claws on
knocking
the
and
door.
scratching.
Yeah.
And it was weird because you could hear where they hit the lip of
yeah,
the
like
decoration
the-
on the door.
Oh, that's right, because we were in there. I think Chrissy was on the spirit box at the time, and Hunter and I, you had told us about that, and we heard, like, it, I wouldn't say like bear claw, but like somebody's like fingernails,
Yeah.
like
Like it
drag
wasn't, like,
across the
strong
door,
or
and you could
anything.
hear it go over the ridges, like tick, 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 tick.
Right. And now, when that happened with us, I got up the first time, and then Hunter the second time. We looked out there to make sure there wasn't an
He
animal or
opened the
something.
door.
Yeah, that's what we do. If we hear a very odd sound that could be dangerous, we open the door and say, "Hi."
Yeah, apparently that is what we do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she's sitting there being critical.
No, I wasn't being. I said we do that.
Atypical
Stay tuned to the next podcast.
Horror movie no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well,
Well, that's Tom. What did you get? Did you get anything exciting when you got there?
I think that once the activity started on the staircase there, I think that really that shook everybody.
Well,
I mean that was huge.
well, should we go ahead and just tell that then?
Well, before we got to that, because the timing of that was interesting
Yeah.
in
Right.
a couple of ways.
Yeah.
Because Hunter, Chrissy, and I were in the little house, the unattached building.
Right. Lisa, Tom, and I, and Mom were in the big.
We were just about to do
Trying to do a ride session,
Yeah,
but they were
we couldn't
being
even get
very
started.
uncooperative.
It was almost
Yeah,
like
we should
wanted
note
to
too that
stop.
a lot of our equipment was sapping. I mean, it was sapping our batteries
It
fast.
felt like they didn't
Not
want us
just
to do it.
cameras, but the lights and all the
Lights
different
and-
things we had. So Lisa and I and Tom, Mom was hanging out in the front of a giant fire,
You were in that big living room.
having a cocktail probably. I don't know. but so we went in there to try to do a rod session in the living room, the main, which used to be the
It
top.
was another bar.
Yeah. The rod kept telling Lisa, like, hell no, I'm not talking to you. So I decided to take that moment, wait for them to okay, a discussion, and I grabbed up 3-4 things that need batteries fixed. I go down the stairs. When I'm on the staircase, I hear on the lower bar the REM pod going off like crazy. So I mentioned something to Mom about it. She goes, "Yeah, it's been going off for a while now."
Well, before you get to that, I'll fill in what we were doing, because we were getting the same
Probably at the same time.
at the same time.
Yeah.
We were trying to do a spirit box session, and whatever was there was very hesitant to talk.
Yeah, we
And
had that
We had
issue
that all
too.
night.
Like, it wouldn't answer, and I think, if I recall correctly, Chrissy was the only one who got anything on the spirit box in there, right?
In the other building?
Yeah. Like,
I think
Hunter and I
we did
tried,
after,
but we didn't get
get a chance
no.
to be on it long enough.
but I think, if I recall correctly, something said that they were scared. We were like, well, why aren't you answering us?
A younger woman.
Yeah, a younger woman, as Chrissy said, scared. And then we heard the old woman with our ears moan in the other room. And
And
Like from
earlier,
one of the
Hunter and I
bedrooms?
had heard that
Yeah,
same
from one of the
woman
bedrooms.
going in there.
we also heard, which was really weird,
Oh.
he's coming. Because it started to talk a little bit. We were like, what are you scared of? And it was like him, or something like that. And so we started to get some answers, then you heard he's coming, and we heard somebody step on the wood outside the door. So Hunter and I jumped up to go see who it was, and of course nobody's there. And we were telling whoever Chrissy was talking to, you don't have to worry, like nothing's gonna, you can tell us what's going on. And it started to open up a little more, and then that's when Shane radioed.
Oh, and before he radioed, me and Tom were in that other room, and I tried to continue with the rod session, and they would not answer. And after a few questions, I'm sitting there and I'm holding them. Then my rods turned to the left behind me, and one of the owners had just come walking in right then,
Then
and then
we heard
your
the
stuff
crash,
happened.
we thought he fell down the stairs.
So there's a lot of build up here.
Yeah.
And let me tell you too, when Lisa and I first did that little house where he was just talking about, there was an old man, 74 years old, I forget his name, came through, was really hesitant to talk to us at first. Seemed scared. He ended up telling us that he was scared, I don't know how to say this right.
He was scared of something that was something
that was conjured on that property, and that he would not even go over to the main building. And sometimes that thing came over here. He was able to set off some equipment too for us, but it was weird. So there was a lot of freaky things. So I go from the living room now where these guys and I were to get the stuff to charge, and I come down the steps. The REM pod's going off. I asked Mom, she says it's been going off for a little while. And literally she's 100 feet from there. And I go over to the REM pod, and I'm going to turn it, because sometimes the REM pods, once they're on for a little while, that certain ones will stick on almost. So I went over there and it goes off. So I start to walk away towards Mom and get the battery stuff, it goes back on again. So I go back over there. I set the batteries down on the table. I go back over to the REM pod, and then it sounded like a wall falling down. I got a deaf ear. I thought it was somewhere to the left of the bar. I didn't realize it was back to my left on where the
So
steps
I
is.
jumped up and like, are you okay?
Yeah, and I said, yeah, something either fell off the wall or something down here. And then the owner comes to the top of the steps. Are you guys okay? A big subwoofer, probably, 10, 15 pounds, and some metal strips went flying off the staircase. Now, we've had a lot of things move a little bit, cat balls, stuff like that, but nothing ever 18 feet that's heavy.
Yeah, we've never had anything thrown at us before.
No, it was,
Cindy is
it was
watching, by the way.
quite, huh?
Cindy is watching, by the way.
Oh, hi,
If
Cindy.
you want to put out there, there's actually a video of that falling on our TikTok.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do have it on the TikTok. We have other camera angles we haven't put out there yet. We'll get them out soon, hopefully. But yeah, it was disturbing how, because and that's another thing too that we should know. Human spirits usually don't have that kind of strength.
No.
So it kind of
First the
falls
speaker
into.
came down, and then it was a few seconds, and then big piece of metal.
And vice versa.
It was like 10 feet long.
The metal?
Yeah.
Yeah. How far the stuff went was disturbing.
It didn't
I mean,
go
that
down
took
the
some
stairs,
strength.
it went off the stairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it went off and then out.
Landed in the
a
middle
number
of
of
the
feet
road.
beyond
Yeah,
the stairs.
Yeah.
at least, 12 feet from the bottom of the
And
steps.
keep in mind, this is a big square block, heavy block. It's not rolling, maybe with a little bit down the steps, but it's going to stop at the bottom of the steps. This was, you know, from me to that wall, beyond the stairs. So,
And like,
significant.
the timing was odd because we were just starting to get stuff to talk about it when you radioed, and of course we quit the spirit box and we ran over to see what was going on over there.
And the whole time on the way over there, when we were walking over to the little house, I didn't really get a whole lot on my meter. The whole way back, it was redlining. Like,
Yeah,
like come
through the
here,
yard.
come here now.
And I
or,
should say
like-
too, the reason I messaged him is because I got a bad feeling. With all this other stuff happening, Lisa had a downstairs just before that, a really telling rod session about what was there. And when she was doing this rod session, the crap around us, cat balls, rib pods, were going off like crazy. This thing was strong and insistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I got worried about you guys being up. Whatever it was, maybe it was the atmosphere at the time, but that's why I called over there. And then they're getting all this stuff too, and
Yeah.
Don't forget
Which
the
it kind
table
of
jumped.
confirmed.
yeah,
the rod
validation.
session.
That
Yeah.
table jumped also, remember?
Well, no,
We found out
we
that was
figured
that was that
Oh,
big
that
ass
was-
fat
cat.
cat
That was a
jumped,
cat.
hit the chair, and it banged the chair table up. The cat was a
Okay,
big
so
fat
that
cat.
was debunked, okay.
Yeah.
That was something.
But not debunked was the shadows that you guys would see back behind the bar.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
weird shadows. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing that was creepy.
You could see
Especially the
them
bar.
from the fireplace when we
Yeah.
were sitting there.
And
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah,
Beautiful fireplace.
and by the time we went back over to that little room, things had kind of closed off again, but then we did start getting a weird, like trying to get Hunter and I to go here. Go here, stand here. We were like, well, what, okay, why? And it wouldn't answer.
So where were they directing you to go stand?
Okay, that,
Back room.
in the back room and in front of the bathroom.
See, because that's where you kept getting directed to go to the bathroom area, and we
Mhm.
couldn't figure out why.
No, us either. Like,
My rod's
like
kept
you'd
telling me
walk
to go-
away and she'd be like, go back.
Yeah.
Or come back. And we'd be like, okay, but what's here? Like,
Yeah, that concerns me because if they're trying to get you in a certain area, and it's like, why?
but we did get also, but I don't think it was through the spirit box, it was more through the ball when you were on the spirit box. That, I don't know why it occurred to Hunter and I. Well, because we were thinking that there was something else there too. And it was using the spirit ball rather than the box. And we asked it, I don't know why it occurred to us, but we asked it, are you here for Chrissy? You remember? And
There's
it
that-
lit up.
Cat ball thing kept going off.
and we
every
were
time
like,
we
are you-
talked about it.
Are you watching out for her? And it lit up,
It stayed on.
stayed on for a while.
Yeah, and well, Chrissy thinks this too, but I suspect that Chrissy has somebody that one of her family members that's coming
Mhm.
along with her on these places, and
And then that one, it wanted you to know,
It
like,
was-
hey, I'm here. I'm I'm trying to keep an eye on you.
yeah, because in
Put
that
on
place
right
I think
away.
you needed it. What we went into this place thinking is some innocent stuff, music going on, you know, stuff getting
Yeah.
moved, dimmer lights.
Spoons being
Right.
moved.
And we did know that one of the previous owners, there was a lot of negativity and some murder stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so when all this other stuff started happening in the spirit spirit box sessions and the rod sessions, we were surprised. But by the feeling of the place, it didn't surprise you that way. It just, we weren't expecting that when we went there. We thought it was going to be a pretty simple.
I don't
place.
really get a creepy feeling initially so much as just, I don't know, uneasy maybe. You know, just not quite comfortable. Yeah.
Remember when after all that had
I
happened,
didn't feel like
and
it
when
was
Chrissy was out
Mm-hmm.
being Dora through the yard,
Mm-hmm.
we were standing and smoking. Well, not me, you guys were. And
Yeah, we were.
you had went to the van because you were getting something to eat,
Yeah.
and I think it was just me and you.
Yeah, the
And
munchie.
we're talking, and I could have swore I heard Shane answer me right beside me, but then when I looked, he was over at the van.
Okay, so you heard somebody else too that wasn't
Outside,
there. Okay,
yes.
that's interesting.
Yes. Huh.
Yeah, it's real creepy when they use your voice.
Somebody's voice that you know, or your voice,
And
or
you
something.
But this is the
all
second
the
time now
time.
since the used our voices, and
Yes.
neither one were human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Usually that means there's something else a little bit.
And I mean, that
different.
would go along with what Lisa.
Yeah, not a
you
ghost,
know,
but some
heard
other
from
spirit.
the Rod
Yeah.
session.
If that was my property, I'd be doing all kinds of stuff to clear that place out.
Yeah.
But it's not, so we didn't. But
Well, I also think it was kind of funny a little bit. And I think maybe they were just, most people are a little closed off when talking about their experiences with things because they think people are weird, or people will think they're weird.
or they don't want to bias.
Yeah, but
Yeah, well, we know people think we're weird.
I
We
thought
don't
it was
care.
a little funny how like the owners were like, well, we haven't had much, and then when we told them all this stuff, they're like, oh yeah, like we saw a shadow walk behind the bar, and they're like, yep.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
They weren't surprised by
like
it.
you guys have had a lot more than kind of let it seem go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we saw the spirit balls going off, I'm like, hey, look at that. Like, because most of the times when we do investigations, they're like, their mind's blown and they're like, oh my God. And they're just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had a lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on in that house that
Yeah,
they
they didn't share.
Yeah. And I mean, I probably wouldn't either if I was
yeah,
a normal
Well, you
person.
might want to see if the people coming to investigate
too.
are legit.
get the same
and,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that validates them, but it also validates you that
Yeah.
you're not going crazy.
Yeah.
We should say too that the static tester
Hi, Sarah.
went off like crazy in there too. At certain places at certain times.
Yeah.
And that thing hardly ever goes off. You
Mm-hmm.
whole investigation, nothing happens with it. Because it's static electricity, negative and positive ions that it detects. But for there are certain
Yeah.
places that really was prevalent. I should say too, when I was, so this is a fireplace, this is another bar, underneath the second floor, there's a back room back there. I heard something move in there that was significant. I couldn't figure out what it was, but it did make me go in there, and I saw a shadow figure over there in that opening, because we had one of the lighted cameras in the back room back there, so it cast a little bit of light in the hallway, and I saw a person walk by.
That's
I
the
saw
same place
something
as the
like
loud.
the Similar in the
I
same
couldn't remember who
place.
else, but somebody else
And
in the
that's
same
back
area.
where I
That's
heard
what you heard
Lisa.
The
Oh.
happy me.
The happy Lisa.
Also, it was in there that when you and I went and collected the lights, like the lights had actually, that one light with the switches had actually, the switches were actually turned off.
Which
Yeah,
it has
Like
to
it
be
wasn't
done
dead,
manually.
it was
Yeah.
still had, but something actually turned off the,
The switch.
And double
yeah.
switches. It has two switches on it, which was weird.
Mm.
Because when we turned it on, it has an IR light and I forget
Full spectrum something or
Yeah,
whatever.
full spectrum
yeah.
light. The full spectrum light, you can actually see it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't mistaken that we forgot. It was on, and then
Yeah.
we got a new dog here.
He says no, he doesn't want to be on camera.
He's a tired boy.
Yeah. So anything else anybody wants to throw in before we go to see if we got some questions or anything?
Well, I wanted Lisa to tell a little bit about her session at the bar.
Yeah, that was creepy.
That was, you guys weren't there,
Mm-mm.
but
Yeah.
it was a really one of those most with feeling that I've
Yeah.
ever had.
We didn't really spend. I don't know. We always kind of break off into groups and things, but usually we
Never
interact
mind.
with each other a lot more. But we hardly saw you guys at whole.
It was in front of the fireplace for a period of time, but besides
Right at
that,
the
we were
end,
pretty
yeah.
separated. from most
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, and then when we were at the fireplace, then we had things going off in other parts of the building as
Yeah.
we were talking about it.
Did we get any names there? Any, cause I know some places we get multiple names
We got a name,
on the spirit box.
but it said it was demonic, so
Oh, yeah.
we can't say the name.
Yeah, you don't wanna repeat the
Yeah.
demonic
And
names.
I don't know if it. I don't know.
was, or if it was
I
trying
don't
to
know if it
scare us.
was or if it was, yeah, trying to.
And
Bully
I don't
us.
know,
Yeah.
you know, the way it talked, it was really matter of fact almost. Yeah, you know, it didn't seem like, it didn't make threats. It didn't, you know, it did say that if we stayed there for any period of time, it was gonna come for us. You know, it was,
Well, that's a threat.
what was it, take the spirit or something like that. But, no, it wasn't like, I'm trying to scare you kind of stuff. It was just like, no, we weren't supposed to be here. We were brought through a portal with somebody who conjured
Oh,
us.
it told us where
They-
different
they said-
portals was,
Yeah,
and one was where
three-
that bathroom
three
door
portals,
kept
I think.
moving.
Yep. And by the way, we should tell too, in that little house, where Lisa and I was at, and Hunter for a period of time, and these two was Hunter for a period of time. Tom was, I think, you know,
I don't know where
contemplating the
Tom was
bathroom.
though for that.
Nobody ever knows where I am.
No, he wanders off too.
The rods kept saying, look over here to this one part that was close to the bathroom in that little house. I went over there and it was really, those things were very specific, directing, things going off. I couldn't figure out what the heck it was trying to get us to do. I'm looking through the walls, the backside of the kitchen. But over and over, it was really insistent. And then you guys are having the same issue. Hunter and I were looking and looking. When we were doing the rod session, come here, fat boy.
Show me not fat boy. Oh, he's a fat boy. Oh,
Here we go, guys.
It's our puppy.
Right here, knees.
Oh,
Was he like 3.5 months old now?
Yeah, and he's already
4
like
months
40
tomorrow.
pounds.
4 months? No, he was born on July 30th.
Yep. Last week was 15 weeks. Tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah, he's not quite there, but so anyway, when she did the rod session, it told us that that was one of the portals.
I don't know.
So that kind of made more sense.
Oh, you can't see him.
Everybody, I can see like different temperaments in our group that wasn't normal, but I don't think people actually realized it. So, you know,
Oh, he's cool.
Tom was one of the ones I was a little worried about.
I think that was at the 3 Park.
No, well, a little bit there too.
Uh,
But Tom was very, you know, insistent at that one, which is not his normal thing, at least at the bar time. But keep in mind, we had something there that was setting things off, and who knows how that affects people.
like I said, I don't know. I didn't even see Tom there. We saw you when you pulled in. That's the last time I saw him.
It's kind of blended.
So, can you tell us more about the rod session by the bar?
I could,
I could if I chose to.
if I remembered.
Yeah. I mean, this was October. We did that one, right? Early October. I don't know.
I don't even remember.
I don't
We've had a lot.
remember. And we've been so packed with one investigation
like
after
every
another.
weekend.
It's hard
Let's
to
see.
keep all the
I can look.
details straight.
Western New York Cemetery says, "Oh my goodness, beautiful fluff."
I was talking to her last night for a long time. She was telling me about, well, a few things we could do for TikTok. And she did a couple Native American
September 30th.
videos with Jesse Cardplanner and another one she was asking me about. I can't come right off the top, but she's a really fascinating person.
Yeah. Who refuses
I
to
watched
go
the video, it was really cool.
Hello.
You know, sometimes I think that places reflects the spirit, reflects the overall care and look of the facility sometimes.
The energy, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you walk in and you see how neglected it is or it's been run down, you expect that kind of reaction
Yeah, yeah,
coming off of that.
yeah.
You know, so like not telling us anything, not talking to us, not wanting us there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised looking at the condition everything
Yeah.
was in, you know?
Yeah, and they were.
It's a great place to hide
Yeah.
and cause trouble or mischief
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
And negative,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, you know, nice place to keep, you know, if somebody comes in there that they can mess with.
Well,
They were trying to fix it up. They're in the process of getting
Yeah.
it fixed up.
The
but
house
I don't-
area was fixed up, like,
Yeah.
they got that all finished, and
Just-
the other part they were turning into like a entertaining area.
Yeah, but who knows
But there was so
how
much, there
that
was so many
thing
creepy
might
areas.
interfere in that too.
Dark
Yeah.
rooms with no lights.
You know, because
and
it probably prefers it.
the basement.
Not
and-
Dreary and
Yeah.
like lots of places to hide.
Was there a
and-
basement?
Yeah, I think that we had one, there was that one room that was pitch black and everybody thought, oh, this room is gonna be fantastic, we got nothing out of it.
Yeah, the back there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one room, it was like, just like the darkest, creepiest room going and nothing happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah, there's a few rooms, like the old beer fridge,
Yeah.
which was gigantic.
but, yeah, I
Can't
do
you
believe
think in
that
there
the place
now, too,
reflects
Bob?
the, whatever's breathing in that house, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big key. There's some places you can walk in and it feels like any other house, and other places you walk in
It's
and
funny
it's
too, the
like,
places we don't seem to think there's gonna be a lot of activity,
Exactly.
sometimes, like that place.
yeah.
Well, your shadows, we got stuff going off like crazy. It was surprisingly fun,
Mm-hmm.
and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we're weird.
And then other ones that are like, oh, this place is supposed to be super haunted. You're like, ah.
We get nothing.
Well, like the
Yeah.
Mimic House, check out that video on YouTube. When we got there, I remember we're like, there's gonna be nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
we're
there's
in the
nothing
car
in this
before we got
place.
out of the Mimic House. We were like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be boring. This is gonna stink.
And that was one of our most like active,
Yeah.
weirdest places.
Oh yeah, that was
So,
a great place.
Yeah.
Mm.
Been trying to get back. I know who the owner is, but the kid won't answer me. Come on, man, please.
I mean, I think the one at Subway was bizarre.
Yeah, pretty
you know?
cool.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's one of those places, I really think that the more time we would have spent there, or more times we go back to investigate, I think the more we'll get. The Providence Spirit is certainly, what was his name? Smith.
Oh,
Parish.
at the
Parish.
Air Smith hardware.
I,
Yeah.
I know there's other stuff in there. We had some things come
Yeah,
through a
his
little bit,
first
but I
name
think
was
that-
Smith and his last name was Parrish.
Yeah, Smith Parish, yeah.
and I
Oh.
think
The
the library,
grandson, Smith Parish.
the library paid off pretty good.
Library was.
Yeah.
That was a good
That
name.
was pretty active.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people contact us about the
Five
library.
story. Five story.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of
that was fantastic.
exercise. Yeah. Yeah. So we got some interesting podcasts coming up
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
about our adventures, and now that we're getting back into the winter time, we'll go back to our regular upload schedule. We kind of took,
Probably
a break
after
for the
December.
season during the summer. And,
When
Probably after December,
when
because
you
we got
have an
several
investigation every
scheduled already.
weekend, a lot of the bigger places we do walkthroughs, and then we had a number of speaking engagements that were really popular. I mean, the World War II one was. I felt bad because people were having to stand outside in the hallway. So
yeah.
that was a great
How many
one.
people did we have there?
He told
160
us,
or?
166.
Yeah.
166 came through the front door.
Yeah.
Front door. A whole bunch of them came.
A whole bunch of them came in with the
Yeah,
side
there
with
were
us.
lined up against the
200.
wall.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, I'm sure that was
Standing
well
room
over
only.
200.
That was impressive.
And we can we'll post that when we can, correct?
Oh, yeah,
Just the video
I
of
wanna
the
tell about
speaking
that.
engagement.
Their video that they took of the program was messed up.
Mm.
So
Audio.
they're going to be airing ours this week, and we'll give them a week or so, and then we'll put it on all our
Our
platforms
YouTube
too.
stuff. Yeah.
If you get a chance to go to the World War II Museum in Eldred, it's worth your
Mhm.
time. It's really a great place.
Everybody.
Not just ghosts, but the history there is
The kids will love it too.
it's
Oh, yeah.
fascinating.
And the kids will go crazy in that place.
So let's see. Anything else anybody wants to add before we?
About the warehouse?
Yeah.
I thought you said the Blair House.
The Blair Witch House. Yeah. That's why I kept telling Hunter, we're getting naked in the basement. Just kept standing in the corner.
It's not running down his face.
Yeah, yeah.
It was pretty gross.
Yeah, for poor Hunter, when he gets these giant pustules healed up on his face,
We'll have him back on camera. Yeah, but
Tux works really well too.
Mm.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else. I mean, other than those, lots of stuff. we could go and say, you know, there's 40 times that the one thing, but when we say there was a lot of activity with our equipment, it was a lot of
And
activity.
it was like
Constant.
the whole night. Like,
Oh yeah. This thing, like human spirits, they get tired. They wear out. They'll poop themselves out, try to show off for us sometimes or communicate. This thing didn't.
tire.
It was
No.
strong the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty,
And if you quit talking
not
about
comfortable feeling.
it would.
It would start
would
lighting
start.
stuff up.
Yeah,
again,
if we were standing there and just talking like, oh, like next weekend's investigation, it would start up touching rim pods,
seen
lighting
that
up cat
happen
ball,
in
like,
a
hey,
lot of places.
you need to pay attention to me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was insistent.
Yeah.
Apparently, it can wipe Lisa's memory.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember
I mean,
anything about that
every
session?
ghost can do that.
Yeah, what do you remember?
18 investigations in a month will
What
do
do you
that. too.
remember from that session?
Yeah, but that was the session where the demon gave its name.
It gave
And
its
then we
name.
don't
It
do that.
It kept setting off this because it was weird because Lisa's sitting here in the bars here, the REM pod and the cat ball is just behind her, so she's not seeing most of this stuff.
Mhm.
It isn't. She'd ask us,
But the
or we'd
rods
ask us-
kept whipping around behind
It
me.
kept whipping back, and they were going off all the time. And when it was talking about, we asked him, well, are there any human spirits here? And he goes, not anymore. You know, like, well, what happened to them? Well, we took them. You know, it was like, okay, now,
All right.
that's a little too much matter of fact.
Yeah.
You know,
Right?
Bring them back.
it's a sad thing if you think about it. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
when we were aware that more portals were.
But I still feel like
According
there
to it,
were
it was
humans
open
still there.
portals.
The ones who were saying, I'm scared and
I
such.
think that there are some on the outskirts, but this thing did say it took them. And it said that it wasn't the only one there.
Yeah,
That
it
she
wasn't.
brought multiple other things from a different dimension into that space.
Yeah.
Somebody did, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, questions?
Well, I think we're
Anybody-
actually good on time. We can
Well-
save some questions for a less.
Anybody
active one.
say anything currently that we're talking about that we need to acknowledge other than
Puppies.
Tom's?
Yeah, yeah. Lots of comments.
That's your
from
oldest
Puppy.
son, right? That was talking.
Benjamin?
Huh?
Ben?
The one that was
Oh,
online.
Oh, no, the other one, Zachary.
Zachary.
That's
Yeah.
that's the oldest.
Yeah, the only thing I have on Facebook is actually about the dog.
Yeah,
It's about Puppy.
yeah, yeah. It's a cute.
And he's
cute
back to
dog.
sleeping in the
He's back to
fireplace.
sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in an active fireplace.
It's his den.
Yeah. And we'll be sure to have
A little
him
while
on
ago, he was
more
running.
episodes in the future.
He was
You
asleep,
can
he was running, he
alert
his
it.
claws going, yeah.
hang out with Momo under the banner.
Do you have questions on TikTok?
No.
We had one, but Hunter kind of covered that. Somebody asked if we had ever encountered a puck wedgie or a wendigo. And
What
Hunter
the
had
heck is
said
a
that
puck
not
wedgie?
well
That's Pennywise.
ghost hunting.
Is that Pennywise?
A wedgie?
No, what is that?
I never heard that.
I haven't heard of it either.
It
I know
is.
what the Wendigo is, but.
It's a probably we talked about it before
Yeah.
in our other thing. It's a little different than what we normally talk about, and we'll talk more about that
Yeah.
later. But I
Actually-
always be careful when I talk about certain things. Winnebago, I'm much more easy to talk
Winnebago.
about.
Winnebago.
Winnebago. Yeah, Winnebagos are really cool.
Well, I'm gonna actually pump our other video. If you want more information about that, be sure to check out our video of the lecture we gave at the Bradford Public Library, where
We did talk
we
about.
talk about that, and you'll get some much more detail on that, and you'll increase our views.
Yeah, and they also have their own version on the Bradford YouTube page.
Oh, nice.
Actually, I guess it's done pretty well.
We do have one other.
Winnebagos.
Yeah.
Winnebagos.
Winnebago. But, well, for the people watching who may not know, Winnebago is not actually like the RV. It's the name of a native nation.
Yeah,
where they got
it
the
is.
name for the RV.
Right. We haven't seen anything like that on an investigation, and we try to avoid stuff like that. yeah, we do have a lot of other stories. Maybe they're from other people that we've known that we'll share probably on another good podcast.
Plus, we've not gotten that far north or west to be in Wendigo territory.
Now their stories are going down even as far as Texas. So
I was gonna say, I
it
thought
used to
saw
be
one
just Canada
several years
or
ago.
North America.
You saw one in
northern.
person?
I thought I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
where was it?
Here in Olean.
Oh,
I told you.
Save,
a while
save
back.
that for our Ghost Stories 3, because I've never heard that.
You're gonna have to tell her to take a note though.
Yeah, make it.
That I'm not gonna forget. Because it scared the
but Jesus.
bejesus out of me.
We've
I was
got
like, what is that?
another question. Scariest moment you've ever had?
Like on a hunt or just period?
Period. I'm thinking.
Finding out I was pregnant at 42.
That would do it.
That's it. You win.
Yep.
My scariest moment, and we won't talk too much about this, but it was a demon-related thing that had to do with my family. That.
Why is everybody? Why y'all gotta look at me?
I know, because he did.
That for a
yes.
decade
That was scary.
would come to visit and tell one of my family put her foot down.
Hey,
Um,
we might. I don't
But it
know. We'll
hasn't
have
come
to.
back.
We will have to tell
We'll
that
have to
story,
discuss
but
that.
it
That
is
thing was
really
right.
we gotta be
Ghost
careful
Stories
because
3,
we
that
have
might be
negative
a good-
things, but this thing was
definitely
infuriatingly
And it
Aggressive.
not only affected you,
Lance,
Me.
the dog.
Lance, but my brother.
Skippy, JR.
Yeah. It was a bad thing, and you could feel it coming way
From down,
before it
yeah,
actually came. to
Before
the
it got
house.
there, you could feel it.
With me, it caused me to go pretty much enraged. Lancey and poor JR, Shane Smash, it really scared them. And I no, to talk about something
That's why
trying to
Lance's
trick you.
hair's up there.
Oh yeah, it was very,
And use
very
Lance's
smart
beloved
to
pet
trick you.
to try to get him to open that door.
Yeah.
That's how we'll talk about that on the
Yeah,
video.
Yeah.
do not. Okay.
That's my scariest moment, but it was over, like I said, a 10-year period.
And it happened to me just recently, and I forgot. You hear a loud bang on your door, and you don't see anything out the curtain. Don't open it,
No.
No.
because then you gotta take steps to clean your house.
So Lisa's sticking with the finding out you're pregnant.
What's your scariest moment?
Scariest and brief.
I don't
don't
have
know,
any scary
really.
moments.
Yeah. I don't know. We're
Because-
so.
We're jaded. I mean, I talked
We're
to
used to this
Well, I
stuff, so
think
it's
there's
hard for us
things
to
that
scare.
would scare other people that might not scare.
yeah,
I think
some
we
that
said
would
this
scare
before,
other
but
people.
Lisa's probably was the Bigfoot thing.
She
That
got
did
scared.
scare
Oh,
me a
Lisa
little
did
bit.
not like our Guernsey Hollow investigation.
No.
Yeah.
When the
Listen, we
Bigfoot
went
was
there
there.
to like look for ghosts, not
She
Bigfoot.
said, "No,
I was not
I'm not dealing
prepared
with
for
Bigfoot." No.
I was not prepared for him.
Well, there was a time that I talked to an archdemon, but it made me feel afraid, but not afraid. You know, it's like, right.
Mom had faith.
Ronnie says, "Ew,
Yeah.
like a skinwalker."
And what-
Yeah, he was worse.
Skinwalker.
With Lisa's thing, she might be talking about.
It
No,
could've been.
we'll have to fill you in on that sometime, Ronnie.
Ronnie,
that-
you need to
that
come over
might
here.
be-
We'll tell you all kinds of the inside stuff.
For
I mean,
for someone else, that my thing might have been like
Yeah. I don't
terrifying.
know. Next time we have a fire or something, you'll just have to bring Ronnie
Yeah.
up on like a video
We'll
chat.
have to-
We'll sit her in
yeah.
one of the chairs.
Say, listen to these
Yeah.
stories.
give her a Bluetooth speaker because I'm sure Ronnie's got some
Good stories.
good
too.
stories too.
How
Yeah.
about you, Tom? What's the scariest thing? Paranormally related.
Well, nothing with the places we've been to, but personally, I had maybe 30 years ago was one of the first houses I rented with my first wife, and I was alone in the house at the time. And I remember sitting in a recliner, and across the room from us was a closet, and I got the sensation that there was something near that closet door that wasn't supposed to be
Saw
there.
that.
And about 2 seconds after I thought about it, I got this feeling that something was coming at me from the closet door, straight for me. It was on all fours
Ew.
and nasty as all hell. And it was just a feeling of that. You couldn't,
Right.
I couldn't see it, but I felt the energy of something aggressive coming right at me.
Right.
I remember jumping up onto the recliner with both my legs and my arm and everything like this, because it came at me so fast.
Yeah.
And I looked and there's nothing there. I come to find out that the woman that lived there before, her husband was a really bad drunk. And when he'd come home, she'd push him into the closet and lock it until he'd wake up from his drunk, because he was abusive. So this guy was really bad, really nasty,
He was a nasty
Yeah.
guy, and he got out of the closet, came after you.
Yeah, and to this day, I still remember every little piece of that, and that was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever encountered.
Hey, we support him coming out of the closet, by the way.
Yeah. But not chasing after Tom.
I don't swing that way.
Okay.
Ronnie says, when they peek around the corner and make you unsure of what you saw.
Yeah. Oh, that's her skin. Yeah. That's always.
That was creepy. How about you?
For me, I
I
think it
almost
would
said Cindy.
probably be the giant head.
Oh,
like,
yeah. The
like,
giant
just
giant
because-
I know it
head.
sounds so funny when she says it.
But it was in like the Steenberg area, was driving down the road late at night, and I see something, my headlights catches something in the road, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna hit something, and I go to slam on the brakes, and I see this gigantic man head in the road, just like not attached to anything. And I'm just like, oh my god. And luckily I didn't swerve, didn't run into anything, but I slammed on my brakes, and then as soon as I hit the brakes, disappeared, and I'm like, it registered, like what the hell happened, and then I just, went forward, but that was a little unsettling.
For more details on all these stories, aside from Tom's, we'll have to have him on the next one. We have 2 parts of our personal
Yeah,
spooky
except for you too. We
ghost
didn't have that on
stories.
there, but yeah.
Part 2's not on there?
It should be.
I didn't want to. I don't think I added that
Well, it
one. We
might
weren't
be.
unsure if we were.
We
talking
didn't
about
put any demonic stuff on any of our podcasts.
it. We should tell people too.
No, I mean our podcast,
Yeah,
our
there
ghost
is a
stories,
part 2.
part 1 and
Oh
part 2.
yeah, it's on the
YouTube
online.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, well, these guys are seeing some weird stuff and some creepy stuff coming after them. You keep a positive idea, frame of mind. You set your intent, and give Lisa another treat.
My phone
just 7
did
up.
it.
You can make sure that you're always, or most of the time, safe.
Right,
And
because
we know how to kind of do that.
like
because
even the Bible says, he that is within us is stronger.
that is
and that
exactly
which is
right.
in the
In
world.
this plane of existence, the Creator gave us
That's the authority.
ultimate power to
Right.
protect ourselves, because this is our plane. Anyway, sorry, Lance, your scary
That's
thing?
your-
What's your scary thing, Lance?
Same again.
Well, I mean, I remember being woken up, being beaten one time, but I think that was just Mom. No, my problem when I was young, I don't know how much detail I can. A good friend of mine who was also a little native boy and I knew better than to make fun of certain things,
But they
but to
did.
prove that we're whatever,
Tough, yeah.
Yeah, we did that. And following that, I had the worst nightmare that I've
I think
ever
you can
had.
say pretty much that whole thing.
I'll save it for our whatever podcast, maybe.
What the heck is that?
Who's your daughter?
To go.
Yeah. But yeah, I had this horrible nightmare. Woke up. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. Bed drenched in sweat. And the next day, stayed awake the rest of the night. Because. And going back to sleep after that, and went to the powwow the next day and saw my buddy that I had been hanging out with, and he looked just as miserable as I did. And when he came up to me, I asked him what was wrong, and he described the dream he had the night
Was
before,
exactly.
which was exactly the same as the dream I
Yeah, hey,
had.
that's cool. Yeah.
Wasn't that when you
was
saw
pretty-
the wolf in the woods too?
That was unrelated.
During that certain time? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that was totally unrelated. I thought, I was young and it was the early 90s, and, you know, I thought I had tamed a wild friggin' wolf, and it was gonna be my companion, like as the Beastmaster. It was somebody's rescue pet that had gotten out of its cage, and like I came walking back like to the campground thinking like I just tamed this wild wolf and he's now my companion. And this dude came out and was like, "Oh, you found my dog." And I was like, it was actually a wolf,
Yeah.
but it got hit by a car when he was a pup. And this guy had raised it its whole life. It was totally tame. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
I thought you were going to mention maybe that trying to burn that stuffed animal that would not burn.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was scary. I was disconcerting. That's probably pretty creepy.
There are other little things too. We go into these with respect. We always want to respect the spirits, living, previous living or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
With anything, you should go in it with respect. But sometimes, no matter how careful you are, we learned the lesson recently. Something could come home with you, right? Or something can send something after you. Lisa had a little bit. My daughter, I was hearing stuff. Dakota, my oldest, was hearing stuff.
Chrissy.
Chrissy and
Chrissy
Monkey.
with Monkey
So
So it was
and
not
Hannah.
just me.
We all, this thing, to keep us from coming to, well, the Stonehouse investigation we did on the 28th or 29th, whatever it was, in October, this thing came to our home.
So be on the lookout for that.
Ronnie, we're talking about the time that you and your mom were sending
Well,
us
don't give away
messages
too much.
about this
Yeah,
stuff.
like this,
No, I'm not gonna. I'm just letting her know because she's
like
watching
across
it live.
the
but-
continent,
Yeah.
and people.
Oh, so we got, so there's things that can happen. So when you're doing this like we are, make sure you're always trying to protect yourself.
Mhm.
And even when you do, expect the unexpected.
And don't do like he did when he was a boy, talk negative about something that's supernatural and make them angry.
Well, they'll show you.
Yeah.
They showed them.
Any more questions, guys?
Yeah.
I do not have any more questions.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and until next time.
Wait. Let's do our little promos.
Oh.
Yes.
Bill Robertson, one of our members.
Bill
You
didn't
owe
pay
us
his dues
$2
this,
million.
He
this
didn't
month
pay.
for advertising.
Bill has a new book, Ghosts Revisited 7. Look up bucko.com,
Bucktails.
bucktail.com, or something like that. Or just look up Bill Robinson, you'll find him.
Yeah.
There's a number of local stores that he also sells
And
the
I think
books
on
through.
Amazon he does as well.
Amazon. We have emails, our first names, .spirithunters. Feel free to contact us.
She's over
I
there.
think Tom is on there too now.
They came from over there.
I came from over there.
What?
The
Nothing, we'll
sound
talk
is
about that
coming
later.
from there, but there's nobody over there.
But you can find, make sure you follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and if you're not already,
Twitter,
in our
X,
Facebook
whatever the heck
group.
that is, Instagram.
Yeah,
TikTok, just
Instagram.
click the link in the
Facebook.
bio.
Yep. You can find links to all of
Website.
our various social medias, partners, and I think Bill Robertson as well at SpiritHunters.group, which is our website where you can connect to everything.
Lisa has a blog, ghostlychronicles.com.
And she's got also Lisa_Marie_200.
Oh yeah, on TikTok.
Yep.
Well, thank you for watching.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for your help.
Yeah, they always see you.
All right, I think we'll call it Lisa.
Lisa, you on deer?
Happy hunting.
Do we want to put any kind of creepy things on the table? A little lobster?
We're creepy enough.
Yeah.